Lieutenant Commander Alara Voss walked through the quiet halls of Earth's United Defense Command headquarters. It was late, and most officers had gone home. Only the soft hum of computers broke the silence. Alara had been working overtime for weeks, organizing old military files that nobody had touched in years. As she sorted through another box of dusty records, a thin folder slipped out and fell to the floor. Project Nemesis was stamped across its cover in faded red letters. Curious, she picked it up and opened it. "What is this?" she whispered to herself. Inside were blueprints unlike anything she had ever seen. The designs showed a massive warship. With technology far beyond current military capabilities, Lyra's eyes widened as she studied the schematics. According to the notes, this vessel, the Nemesis, could harness quantum energy in ways that defied conventional physics. The ship's main weapon system made Alara's blood run cold. Notes described a fleet killer capable of generating an energy wave that could destroy dozens of ships simultaneously. One warship with the power to annihilate an entire fleet? "This can't be real," she said. But the detailed calculations and signatures of top scientists suggested otherwise. Alara checked the date on the files. They were over 30 years old. Why had she never heard of such a powerful weapon? The final page in the folder provided the answer. Project Nemesis had been officially terminated after a catastrophic test failure that claimed the lives of 17 engineers. But something didn't add up. If the project had truly been abandoned, why were these files classified at the highest level? Why did the termination report lack the usual detailed analysis? Alara copied the files to her secure tablet and carefully returned the folder to its box. She needed to learn more. The next morning, Alara contacted her old academy friend, Dr. Marcus Chen, who now worked in advanced propulsion research. "I need to ask you about something called quantum displacement drive," she said when they met in a quiet corner of the base cafeteria. Marcus nearly choked on his coffee. "Where did you hear that term?" he asked, lowering his voice and glancing around nervously. "So it's real?" Alara pressed. "In theory," Marcus admitted. "It's the holy grail of space traveler drive system that can partially phase a ship out of normal space, making it nearly invulnerable to conventional weapons while allowing it to travel at incredible speeds. But it's just theoretical. The power requirements would be impossible to meet, and the computational systems needed to control such a drive don't exist. What if they did exist? 30 years ago, Marcus stared at her. That's not possible, unless... He trailed off, thinking. There were rumors about a secret project back then. Something big that got shut down after an accident.
Ow.
But that's all I know, just rumors. Over the next few weeks, Alara carefully investigated. Reaching out to retired officers and searching through more classified archives, she learned that the Nemesis had actually been built at least partially at a remote shipyard on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, according to the records. The facility had been abandoned after the project's cancellation, but when Alara accessed recent satellite imagery of Europa, she noticed something strange. The supposedly abandoned shipyard showed signs of activity. Power signatures and occasional supply ships visiting under the cover of routine maintenance. She needed to see for herself. Using her military clearance, Alara assembled a small team of trusted colleagues: Marcus, who couldn't resist the scientific mystery, Lieutenant Kira Wong, a security specialist, and Commander Jackson Reed, a veteran pilot who owed Alara a favor. "This is strictly unofficial," she told them as they prepared their shuttle. "If anyone asks, we're conducting a standard inspection of outer system defense platforms." "What are we really doing?" Kira asked. "Finding out if the most dangerous warship ever designed is still out there," Alara replied. The journey to Europa took 3 days. As they approached the moon's icy surface, Jackson pointed to a large structure, partially buried under the ice. "That's it," he said. "The old Europa shipyard. Officially closed for 28 years? Then why are the landing lights on?" Marcus asked, pointing to a row of blue lights illuminating a landing pad, as they brought their shuttle down for a closer look. Lara's communication system suddenly picked up a strange signal, a repeating pattern of numbers that made no sense. "Someone knows we're here," Kira warned, checking her weapon. Jackson began to turn the shuttle around. We should report back before he never finished his sentence. A blinding flash of light filled the cabin as something struck their shuttle. Alarms blared as the ship spun out of control. "We've been hit," Jackson shouted, fighting with the controls. "Engine 2 is gone. Emergency landing," Lara ordered, strapping herself in tightly. "Aim for the flat ice field." The shuttle crashed hard, skidding across Europa's icy surface before coming to a stop nearly a kilometer from the shipyard. The impact threw Lara against her restraints, knocking the wind from her lungs. When she regained her senses, smoke filled the cabin. "Report? Is everyone okay?" Marcus groaned from his seat, blood trickling from a cut on his forehead. "I'm alive. Same." "Here," Kira said, already checking the shuttle's systems. "But we're in trouble. Life support is damaged. We've maybe 6 hours of air left." Jackson wasn't moving. Ilara rushed to check on him and found a weak pulse. "He's alive but unconscious. Possible concussion?" "Who shot us down?" Marcus asked, looking out the cracked viewport at the desolate landscape. "The better question is why," Ilara said. "Someone doesn't want us near that shipyard." Kira managed to get emergency power working. "Communications are down. No way to call." "For help? Then we have no choice," Ilara decided, pulling on her spacesuit. "We need to reach that facility. It's our only chance of survival." The trek across Europa's surface was treacherous. They fashioned a makeshift stretcher for Jackson and took turns dragging him across the ice. The low gravity helped, but their oxygen supplies were limited. The temperature was dropping as Europa moved into Jupiter's shadow. As they approached the shipyard, they saw it wasn't abandoned at all. Lights glowed from within, and they could make out the shapes of modern equipment around the main structure. "Look there," Marcus whispered, pointing to a massive hangar door built into the ice. "That's big enough for ... A warship," Ilara finished. Suddenly, floodlights blazed to life, illuminating them on the exposed ice. A voice boomed from speakers around the facility. "Lieutenant Commander Voss, you should not have come here." Lara recognized the voice immediately. "Admiral Zhao, head of the Defense Command, her ultimate superior." "You have seen things you were not meant to see," the Admiral continued. "But perhaps this is providence. We need officers with your skills for what's coming." The huge hangar doors began to open, revealing a cavernous space carved into Europa's ice. As the doors parted wider, Ilara gasped. There, suspended in a cradle of advanced technology, hung the most terrifying ship she had ever seen. Its hull was midnight black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. The design matched the blueprints she had found, but seeing it in person was entirely different. The Nemesis was real, and it was complete. "What is coming, Admiral?" Lara called out, her voice shaking. "Why reactivate this weapon now? Because we are no longer alone in this galaxy, Commander." The Admiral replied as armed guards surrounded Ilara and her team, and our visitors are not friendly. As if on cue, alarms began to sound throughout the facility. The Admiral's voice turned urgent as he barked orders to his staff. "Unknown vessels approaching Jupiter. Battle stations. Prepare the Nemesis for emergency launch." Ilara looked up through Europa's thin atmosphere and saw flashes of light and orbit weapons fire. A battle was taking place above them. "The future of humanity may depend on what happens in the next few hours, Commander Voss," the Admiral said grimly. "The question is, are you with us?" Before she could answer, a massive explosion rocked the facility, sending ice and debris crashing down. Around them, the war had begun, and the Nemesis was about to enter the fight. 6 months had passed since the attack on Europa. Lieutenant Commander Ilara Voss opened her eyes in a dimly lit medical room. The steady beep of monitoring equipment filled the silence. Her body felt heavy, as if she had been asleep for a very long time. "She's awake," a voice said. A doctor in a white coat approached her bed. "Commander Voss, can you hear me?" "Yes," Ilara croaked, her throat dry. "Where am I?" "You're in a secure medical facility on Mars," the doctor explained. "You've been in an induced coma for healing. Do you remember what happened?" Memories flooded back: the explosion at the Europa shipyard, the attack from unknown ships, Admiral Zhao shouting orders as the ceiling collapsed, She remembered pushing Marcus and Kira toward a shelter before something heavy struck her head. "My team?" she asked. Dr. Chen and Lieutenant Wang survived. Commander Reed died from his injuries during the attack. "I'm sorry." Lara closed her eyes, grief washing over her. Jackson had been a good man and an excellent pilot in the attack. What happened? The doctor hesitated. "I think Admiral Zhao should explain that to you." 2 days later, after Alara had regained enough strength to walk, Admiral Zhao visited her. The tall, stern-faced man looked older than she remembered, with new lines of worry etched into his face. "The situation has changed dramatically, Commander," he said without preamble. "The attack on Europa was just the beginning. We're at war." He showed her footage on a tablet. Massive ships with strange, angular designs firing on Earth colonies. Defense fleets being torn apart by weapons unlike anything humans had built. "We call them the hegemony," Zhao explained. "They appeared from beyond the Kuiper Belt 6 months ago. No warnings, no attempts at communication. They just started attacking our outer settlements." "Who are they? Where did they come from?" Lara asked. "We don't know much. Their technology is similar to ours, but more advanced. They're humanoid, but not human. Their ships are faster, and their weapons more powerful than anything in our arsenal." He paused. "Except one." Lara understood immediately. "The Nemesis." Zhao nodded. "The Europa facility was damaged, but not destroyed. We've spent the last 6 months completing the Nemesis. It's our only hope against the hegemony's superior numbers." "But, sir, the Nemesis was never fully tested." "What?" "Quantum displacement drive was theoretical at best. In the weapons systems, we don't have the luxury of caution anymore, Commander. Millions have already died. Earth itself could be next." The next day, Alara was transported to a new facility hidden beneath the Martian surface. There, in an enormous underground dock filled with water, floated the Nemesis.
The massive warship
Looked even more imposing than she remembered. Its black hulls seemed to swallow the light, and its sleek, predatory shape reminded Alara of ancient sea creatures that hunted in Earth's oceans. "It's beautiful in a terrifying way," said a familiar voice beside her. Alara turned to see Marcus Chen, now wearing a science officer's uniform with a lieutenant's rank. A scar ran across his forehead where he had been injured during the Europa attack. "Marcus, you joined up?" He shrugged. "Didn't have much choice. The hegemony destroyed my research station after Europa. Besides, someone needs to make sure this monster doesn't tear itself apart when the drive activates." "Come on, they're waiting for us." Inside, the Nemesis was a marvel of technology. Corridors with smooth, curved walls led to a command center unlike any conventional bridge. Instead of traditional stations, officers sat in recessed areas surrounded by holographic displays. At the center was the captain's position erased. Platform with 360-degree visibility, Captain Alondra Reyes, veteran of the Outer Colony conflicts, greeted them. "Commander Voss, Dr. Chen, welcome aboard. We launch in 6 hours." 6 hours? Alara was shocked. "But the systems need weeks of testing before the hegemony has broken through our defenses at Ganymede," Reyes interrupted.
"Ice. Jupiter is falling."
"We don't have weeks." The next few hours were a blur of activity as the crew made final preparations. Alara was assigned as tactical officer, responsible for the ship's weapons systems. As she reviewed the controls, she realized how little they truly understood about the technology they were about to unleash. "The primary weapon draws power directly from the quantum displacement field," Marcus explained as they worked. "In theory, it can disrupt the molecular bonds of any matter within its range. One shot could destroy an entire fleet or an entire moon. And if something goes wrong?" Marcus didn't answer, which was answer enough. When launch time came, the underground dock began to drain. Massive doors opened above them, revealing the red Martian sky. The Nemesis rose on powerful anti-gravity engines, water cascading from its hull as it emerged from its secret berth. "All systems online," reported the engineering officer. "Quantum displacement drive standing by." "Take us out, Lieutenant," Captain Reyes ordered. "Set course for Jupiter." The Nemesis accelerated smoothly, quickly reaching escape velocity from Mars. Once clear of the planet's gravity well, Reyes gave the order they had all been waiting for. Gauge quantum displacement drive. Marcus initiated the sequence. The ship hummed as power built up in its core. On the view screens, Alara watched, as a strange distortion began to form around the hull, drive engaging in 3.2.1. A sensation like falling through ice washed over everyone on board. The stars outside seemed to stretch and blur. Then, with a flash of blue-white light, the Nemesis jumped. The journey to Jupiter, should have taken days, was over in minutes. The Nemesis emerged from quantum displacement near Europa, right into the middle of a battle. Hegemony warships. Silver vessels with glowing red weapon ports were bombarding the last human defenses around Jupiter. Battle stations, Reyes ordered. Prepare main weapons. But before anyone could act, something strange happened. The ship's controls locked up, displays flickered, and changed to show unfamiliar symbols. What's happening? Reyes demanded. AI core is activating on its own, Marcus reported, frantically working at his station. It's locking us out. The Nemesis moved without human control, turning toward one of Jupiter's uninhabited moons. A deep vibration ran through the ship as its main weapon charged. Stop it, Lara shouted, trying to override the system. Too late. A beam of intense white energy shot from the Nemesis, striking the small moon. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the entire moon began to glow from within. Cracks appeared on its surface, spreading like lightning. Seconds later, it exploded not in large chunks, as a normal explosion would cause, but disintegrating completely into a cloud of particles. The shock wave hit 3 nearby research stations, tearing them apart. Both human and hegemony ships were thrown off course by the blast. My God, Reyes whispered. What have we done? The controls suddenly returned to normal as the AI released its grip on the ship's systems. In the stunned silence that followed, Ilara noticed something on her display, a hidden data stream in the ship's core programming. She traced it to its source and made a chilling discovery. The Nemesis hadn't malfunctioned. It had received commands from somewhere else, somewhere beyond the battle, beyond Jupiter, perhaps beyond their solar system. Captain, she said, her voice shaking slightly. The ship was following orders. Someone or something else is controlling the Nemesis. As if in response to her words, all the hegemony ships suddenly broke off their attack and regrouped. They seemed to be studying the Nemesis with new interest or new fear. They recognize it, Marcus said quietly. They know what this ship is. Largest hegemony vessel moved forward, not to attack, but to broadcast a message. It appeared on all their screens in perfect English. The weapon awakens. The test begins. May your species prove worthy. The message from the hegemony ship hung in the air like a challenge. Captain Reyes ordered all systems to battle readiness, but the enemy fleet was already retreating, jumping away to unknown coordinates. They're afraid, Kira said from her security station. They saw what the Nemesis can do. Or they're regrouping for a bigger attack, Alara countered. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong about this entire situation. Why would the enemy retreat after sending such a cryptic message? For the next 3 days, the Nemesis remained in Jupiter's orbit, while engineers worked to understand what had happened with the AI system. Marcus led the investigation, spending hours in the ship's core trying to trace the source of the mysterious commands. It's like nothing I've ever seen, he told Alara during a rare break. The AI didn't just activate on its own, it received a specific activation code. But I can't figure out where it came from. Could it have been the hegemony? She asked. Marcus shook his head. The code was embedded in the system from the beginning, like a hidden program waiting for the right signal. Before they could discuss it further, alarms blared throughout the ship. Captain Reyes' voice came over the intercom. All hands to battle stations. The hegemony is attacking Earth's outer colonies. The view screens showed devastating scenes from the human settlements on Mars and the moons of Saturn. Hegemony warships bombarded civilian areas without mercy. Defense fleets tried to fight back but were quickly overwhelmed by superior numbers. We're receiving emergency orders from Earth Command, the communications officer announced. We're to engage the enemy fleet at Saturn immediately. Despite concerns about the ship's reliability, they had no choice. Millions of lives were at stake. The Nemesis engaged its quantum displacement drive again, jumping across the solar system in minutes. They emerged near Titan, Saturn's largest moon, where the heaviest fighting was taking place. Dozens of hegemony ships were attacking the human colony there, their weapons turning the settlement's protective domes to rubble. "Target the largest enemy vessels," Captain Reyes ordered. "Conventional weapons only for now. Hold the main cannon in reserve." Ilara took control of the weapons systems, her hands steady despite her racing heart. The Nemesis moved into attack position, its advanced targeting systems locking onto 5 hegemony destroyers simultaneously. "Firing solution ready," she reported. "Fire." Nemesis unleashed a barrage of plasma torpedoes. The weapons streaked across space, striking the enemy ships with perfect accuracy. Instead of the expected explosions, something strange happened. 3 of the torpedoes passed right through the hegemony ships as if they weren't there. "Direct hits on 2 targets," Ilara reported, "but the others, it's like they're partially out of phase with normal space." Marcus looked up from his console, eyes wide. "They have quantum displacement technology too. Not as advanced as ours, but similar principles." Captain Reyes made a quick decision. Gauge our quantum drive at low power. Match their phase state. Nemesis hummed as its drive activated. Not for jumping, but for shifting the ship partially out of normal space. The sensation was strange, like being underwater, but still able to breathe. "Phase matched," Marcus confirmed. "We can hit them now." The battle that followed was unlike anything in human military history. Both the Nemesis and the hegemony ships flickered in and out of normal space, their weapons leaving strange distortions. In reality, where they passed, conventional physics seemed to break down around them. Ilara's tactical training hadn't prepared her for this kind of combat, but she adapted quickly. She discovered that, by timing the Nemesis's phase shifts precisely, she could make enemy weapons pass harmlessly through their hull while ensuring their own attacks connected. "Their flagship is moving to attack the main colony dome," Kira reported, pointing to a massive hegemony vessel approaching Titan's surface. "Intercept course," Reyes ordered. "Prepare the gravity well projectors." The Nemesis moved between the enemy flagship and the colony. Alar activated the gravity well system, a weapon that created a localized distortion in space-time. The effect was immediate and devastating. The hegemony ship was caught in the artificial gravity field, its hull buckling under forces it wasn't designed to withstand. Within seconds, it crumpled like paper, crushed by invisible hands. Lara reported, trying to keep the shock from her voice. Weapons power was terrifying. One by one, they engaged the remaining enemy ships. The Nemesis moved like a predator among prey, its advanced weapons tearing through the hegemony fleet. Victory seemed certain. Then, without warning, a new ship appeared. It emerged from what looked like a tear in space itself, not a controlled jump like the quantum displacement drive, but something more violent. As if it had ripped its way through the fabric of reality, the newcomer was unlike any vessel they had ever seen. It wasn't hegemony design, nor did it match any known human ship. Its hull was crystalline, reflecting light in impossible patterns. It was enormous, at least twice the size of the Nemesis. "Unknown vessel," the sensor officer reported. "Matching signatures in our database." Before anyone could react, the alien ship released a pulse of energy that expanded outward in a perfect sphere. As it passed through both human and hegemony vessels, all systems temporarily failed. The Nemesis went dark, emergency lights flickering on as backup power struggled to activate. "What was that?" Reyes demanded. "Some kind of electromagnetic pulse, but far more sophisticated," Marcus replied, working frantically to restore power. "It didn't damage our systems, just temporarily disabled them." As the ship's systems slowly came back online, a message was broadcast on all frequencies and in all known languages. "The Harbinger approaches. Your weapons awaken ancient guardians." The mysterious ship hung in space for a moment longer, then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, it vanished, not through a jump or conventional movement, but by simply fading from existence. "Captain," Kira called out, her voice tense. "Something's attached itself to our hull." External cameras showed a small, disc-shaped object clinging to the Nemesis's outer plating. It pulsed with the same crystalline energy as the alien ship.
It's
Integrating with our systems, Marcus reported, watching as strange code began flowing across his screen. I can't stop it. Can you isolate it? Reyes asked. I'm trying, but Marcus stopped mid-sentence, staring at his display. Captain, you need to see this. He transferred the data to the main screen. Showed schematics of the Nemesis, but with annotations in an unknown language. As they watched, the alien symbols translated themselves into English. Prototype Sentinel. Class vessel, Alara read aloud. Based on precursor technology, Mark IV? What does that mean? Reyes asked. It means, Marcus said slowly, that the Nemesis wasn't developed by humans at all. Look at the date on this file, it's over 200 years old. Alara felt a chill run down her spine as she realized the implications. The quantum displacement drive, the weapons systems, they weren't our inventions. We reverse-engineered them from something we found. But what? Kira asked. And who are the precursors? Before anyone could answer, the hegemony ships that had survived the battle began to retreat, not in panic, but in an organized withdrawal, as if they had received new orders. They're leaving, the sensor officer reported. All enemy vessels jumping out of the system. Captain Reyes studied the tactical display, his expression grim. They saw the alien ship too. They got the same message we did. The Harbinger approaches. Alara repeated quietly. What does it mean? I don't know, Reyes admitted. But I think we just got caught in the middle of something much bigger than a war between humans and the hegemony. As if to confirm his words, the strange device attached to their hull pulsed again, sending new data streaming into their systems. Star charts appeared on the main screen, showing a path leading beyond the solar system to a distant point in space. Giving us coordinates, Marcus said. For what? Alara asked. I think, Marcus replied, his voice barely above a whisper. It's showing us where to find answers. The Nemesis hung in space, its mission suddenly much more complicated than anyone had imagined. The war with the hegemony was just the beginning. Something was coming, something ancient and powerful, and humanity had unknowingly awakened it. Earth's command was not happy about the alien device attached to the Nemesis. For 2 weeks, the most brilliant scientists studied the strange object, but no one could remove it without risking damage to the ship. The device continued to integrate with the Nemesis's systems, changing and enhancing them in ways no one fully understood. It's like it's upgrading us, Marcus explained during a briefing with Captain Reyes, Alara, and the senior officers. Quantum displacement drive is now 30% more efficient. Our weapon systems are calibrating to new energy levels. Even the hull material is changing at the molecular level. Can we trust these changes? Reyes asked, voicing everyone's concern. I don't know, Marcus admitted. But I can tell you this, whatever this technology is, it's far beyond our understanding. Before they could discuss further, alarms sounded. Throughout the ship, the communications officer's voice came over the intercom. Captain to the bridge. Hegemony fleet detected approaching Earth's defense perimeter. The Nemesis was immediately ordered to join Earth's defense fleet. The situation was dire over. 50 hegemony warships had appeared near the moon, the largest attack force yet seen. Earth's remaining ships moved to intercept. But they were outnumbered and outgunned. As the Nemesis prepared to jump into battle, Alara noticed something strange on her tactical display. The alien device is active, she reported. It's drawing power from our main systems. Can you shut it down? Reyes asked. It's too deeply integrated now. We don't have a choice, Reyes decided. We have to engage the enemy. It's all hands. Prepare for quantum jump. Now the Nemesis activated its drive. But instead of jumping to Earth as planned, the ship suddenly veered off course. The familiar sensation of quantum displacement washed over the crew, but when they emerged, they weren't anywhere near Earth or the moon. Where are we? Reyes demanded. The navigation officer checked his instruments, confusion clear on his face. Unknown star system, sir? Is nothing matching these coordinates in our database? Outside the viewports, a dying red giant star cast an eerie light over the scene. Orbiting the ancient star was something that made everyone on the bridge fall silent. Massive structure, clearly artificial, stretching thousands of kilometers across space. It's a shipyard, Marcus whispered in awe. He was right. The enormous facility was building ships' vessels similar to the Nemesis, but vastly larger. Automated construction drones moved around partially completed hulls, while finished ships hung in docking cradles, dark and dormant. "Scan for life signs," Reyes ordered. "None detected, Captain," the sensor officer replied. "The entire facility appears to be automated." "Look at those ships," Alara said, studying the tactical display. "They're built on the same principles as the Nemesis, but they're at least 5 times larger. One of those could destroy an entire planet. The question is, who built them, and why bring us here?" Kira asked from her security station, as if in response to her question. The alien device pulsed again, sending new information to their systems. Schematics appeared on the main screen, showing the internal layout of the shipyard. "It wants us to dock," Marcus said, interpreting the data. "There's something inside the facility it wants us to see." Captain Reyes hesitated. They were far from Earth, which was under attack, and this could be a trap. The answers they needed might be inside that structure. "Take us in," he finally ordered, "but be ready for immediate quantum jump if anything goes wrong." As the Nemesis approached the shipyard, massive doors opened to receive them. The ship glided into a docking bay large enough to hold 20 vessels its size. Once inside, the doors closed behind them. "We're locked in," Kira reported, her hand moving to her weapon. Suddenly, the shipyard's defense systems activated. Hundreds of drone fighters launched from hidden bays, surrounding the Nemesis in seconds. "We've got company," Alara called out. "Hostile drones approaching from all directions. Defensive positions," Reyes ordered. "Prepare to engage." The drones attacked, without warning, firing energy weapons that struck the Nemesis's hull. The ship's shields held, but the sheer number of attackers was overwhelming. Alara took control of the weapons systems, targeting as many drones as she could. The Nemesis fought back, its advanced weapons destroying dozens of attackers with each volley. But for every drone they destroyed, 2 more took its place. "We can't keep this up forever," Alara warned, as the shields began to weaken under the constant barrage. "Prepare for quantum jump," Reyes ordered. "Get us out of here." "The drive isn't responding," Marcus reported, frantically working at his console. "The alien device is blocking the commands." The situation grew desperate as more systems began to fail. Hull breaches were reported on lower decks. The medical bay was overwhelmed with injured crew members. "We're losing power to weapons," Lara reported as her tactical display flickered. Just when defeat seemed inevitable, the alien device pulsed one final time. The Nemesis's systems suddenly came alive with new energy. Displays showed a previously unknown weapon system activating deep within the ship's core. "What's happening?" Reyes demanded. "The AI's initiating some kind of protocol," Marcus replied, watching in amazement as new code flowed across his screen. "It's channeling all available power to a system I've never seen before." A deep vibration ran through the ship, building to a frequency that made their teeth ache. Outside, space itself seemed to ripple around the Nemesis. "Brace for impact," Alara shouted, though she had no idea what was coming. The Nemesis released a wave of energy unlike anything they had seen before. It wasn't a directed beam like their main weapon, but a spherical pulse that expanded outward at incredible speed. As it touched the attacking drones, they simply ceased to exist, not exploding or breaking apart, but disintegrating at the atomic level. In seconds, the entire drone fleet was gone. But the energy wave continued outward, striking the shipyard itself. Massive sections of the facility began to break apart as the wave passed through them. "The ship can't handle this much power," Marcus warned as warning lights flashed across his console. "Critical systems are failing." The energy wave finally dissipated, leaving the Nemesis floating in the midst of the partially destroyed shipyard. Emergency systems struggled to maintain life support as the main power grid failed. "Damage report," Reyes ordered, his voice hoarse. "Multiple hull breaches, engine room heavily damaged. Life support at 40% and falling," Kira reported. "We're in bad shape, Captain." As the crew fought to save their ship, a transmission broke through their damaged communication system. The message was clear despite the static. "The test is complete. The Harbinger acknowledges your species' potential." The message continued, revealing a truth more terrifying than anything they could have imagined. Had been manipulated for centuries as part of an experiment by an ancient race called the Precursors. These beings had seeded warship technology throughout the galaxy, watching to see which species would develop it successfully. Your kind and the hegemony are but two of many test subjects, the voice explained. Both showing promise, both developing the weapons we left for you to find. Why? Alara asked, though she wasn't sure if the entity could hear her. Why test us this way? Because the Harbinger comes for all life, the voice replied. Only those species that advance quickly enough can hope to survive its hunger. The message revealed that the Harbinger was not a ship or a weapon, but a cosmic entity that moved between galaxies, consuming civilizations that failed to reach a certain technological threshold. It had destroyed countless species before, and now it was approaching the Milky Way. The hegemony is not your enemy, the voice continued. They are simply another test subject, another potential ally against what comes. As the transmission ended, the main view screen showed a new image, a massive object moving through deep space. It was planet-sized, but clearly artificial, a biomechanical entity that seemed to pulse with malevolent life. The Harbinger, Marcus whispered. How do we fight something like that? Kira asked, the usual confidence gone from her voice. Captain Reyes looked around at his damaged ship and exhausted crew. First, we survive.
Oh.
Then we get back to Earth and warn them. He turned to Alara, and then we find a way to use what we've learned here. As if responding to his determination, the Nemesis's systems began to stabilize. The alien device pulsed once more, initiating repair protocols throughout the ship. It's helping us, Marcus said in surprise. The device is repairing critical systems. But why? Alara wondered. What does it want from us? Right. The answer came in the form of new coordinates appearing on the navigation display, a direct route back to Earth. But the tactical screen showed something else. The Harbinger's trajectory, heading straight for their home system. How long? Reyes asked, studying the projection. At its current speed, Marcus calculated 3 months until it reaches Earth. The Nemesis limped away from the ruined shipyard, its mission now clear. They had to warn humanity about the true threat and prepare for a battle unlike any they had faced before. The war with the hegemony suddenly seemed insignificant compared to what was coming, as the quantum displacement drive slowly came back online. Alara looked at the image of the Harbinger one last time. We're going to need a bigger ship, she said quietly. The return journey to Earth took longer than expected. With the Nemesis operating on minimal power, they could only make short quantum jumps before systems needed to cool down. What should have been an instant trip stretched into a week of tense waiting. When they finally arrived in Earth's orbit, they found chaos. The hegemony attack had been devastating. The orbital defense platforms were destroyed, and much of the defense fleet was in ruins. Earth itself showed scars of bombardment, dark patches where cities had once stood. Get me Earth Command, Captain Reyes ordered as soon as communications were restored. Admiral Zhao's face appeared on the screen. He looked haggard, with dark circles under his eyes and a fresh scar across his cheek. Captain Reyes, we thought you were lost, the Admiral said. Where have you been? We needed the Nemesis here. Reyes quickly explained what they had discovered: the precursors, the tests, and most importantly, the Harbinger. As proof, he transmitted the data they had gathered from the alien shipyard at first. The Admiral was skeptical, but as he reviewed the evidence, his expression changed to one of horror. How long do we have? He asked. Less than 3 months, Reyes replied, and the Nemesis is badly damaged. Need repairs immediately. The next few days were a blur of activity. The Nemesis was moved to Earth's largest shipyard for emergency repairs. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock to understand the alien device and the changes it had made to the ship. Meanwhile, Lara and Marcus were summoned to an emergency meeting of Earth's remaining military leaders. Representatives from the colonies were there too, along with an unexpected guest, a hegemony commander who had been captured during the battle. This is Commander Vex. Admiral Zhao introduced the alien. He has information that confirms your story about the Harbinger. The hegemony commander looked similar to humans, but with gray skin and eyes that reflected light like a cat's. He spoke perfect English. My people have known about the Harbinger for generations, Vex explained. We found ancient warnings in ruins on our homeworld. That's why we expanded so aggressively. We were searching for weapons to fight it. So you attacked us for our technology? Alara asked, anger in her voice. Yes, Vex admitted without shame. Your Nemesis project was of particular interest. Our spies learned of it decades ago. We believed it might be the key to defeating the Harbinger, and now? Marcus asked. Now we must work together or we all die, Vex said simply. Over the next 2 months, an unprecedented alliance formed between humans and the hegemony. Other alien races joined 2 species that had been hiding in the shadows of the galaxy. All aware of the coming threat, the Nemesis became the center of their defense. Plans, with the help of the alien device, which they now understood, contained the consciousness of a precursor scientist who had rebelled against the cruel experiments. They began to modify the ship's quantum displacement drive. The theory is sound. Marcus explained during a briefing with the combined fleet commanders. If we can create a cascading quantum reaction inside the Harbinger, we might be able to destroy a Tor, at least drive it away. But there's a catch, Alara added. The reaction has to be triggered from inside the Harbinger itself. Someone has to take the Nemesis right into the heart of that thing. The room fell silent, as everyone understood the implications. Be a one-way mission. As the day of the Harbinger's arrival grew closer, Earth's remaining ships gathered for a last stand. The hegemony contributed their fleet as well. Together, they had almost 300 vessels, an impressive force. But tiny compared to the planet-sized entity they faced. Captain Reyes called his senior officers to the Nemesis's bridge for a final briefing. The plan is simple, he said, looking at each of them in turn. The combined fleet will engage the Harbinger's outer defenses, creating an opening. The Nemesis will then use its quantum drive to jump directly to the Harbinger's core and trigger the reaction. Who's going? Kira asked the question on everyone's mind. I am, Reyes said firmly. But I need a skeleton crew to operate critical systems. Volunteers only. Without hesitation, Alara stepped forward. I'll handle weapons and tactical. Engineering, Marcus said. Security, Kira added, one by one. Other officers volunteered until they had the minimum crew needed to operate the ship. The day of reckoning arrived with little warning. Long-range sensors detected the Harbinger emerging from deep space near Pluto. It moved faster than expected, crossing the distance to Neptune in hours rather than days. All ships, battle positions, Admiral Zhao ordered from the fleet command vessel. Remember the plan. Create an opening for the Nemesis at all costs. The combined fleet moved to intercept the Harbinger. As they drew closer, they could finally see it clearly, a massive structure that seemed part machine, part living organism. Its surface was covered with what looked like cities, but might have been organs or processing centers. Smaller entities detached from it, moving to engage the approaching fleet. Harbinger defensive systems activating, Alara reported from her station on the Nemesis. They're launching what appear to be antibodies. The battle began with a fury that made their previous encounters seem like minor skirmishes. The Harbinger's defenses were unlike anything they had faced before, living weapons that adapted to each attack. Learning and evolving in real dash time, Earth ships fell by the dozens. Gemini vessels fared slightly better with their more advanced shields, but they too were being overwhelmed by the sheer number of attackers. We need to move now, Reyes decided as he watched the fleet being decimated. They're creating our opening, but it won't last long. The Nemesis powered up its quantum displacement drive, now modified with the precursor technology. The ship hummed with energy as systems reached levels never before achieved. Drive at maximum capacity, Marcus reported from engineering. We can make the jump. All hands secure for quantum displacement, Reyes ordered. Target Harbinger. Central mass. The Nemesis jumped, the familiar sensation of displacement now intensified to an almost painful degree. When they emerged, they were inside the Harbinger itself, cavernous space filled with strange machinery and pulsing organic material. "We're in," Ilara confirmed, checking the tactical display. "But we've got company."
Act.
Defensive systems immediately activated, sending waves of energy through the Nemesis's hull. Alarms blared as systems began to fail. "Hull breach on deck 3, Kira reported. "Something's cutting through our armor." "Get to the engine room, Reyes," ordered Marcus. "Prepare the quantum cascade. We need to trigger it now." Marcus rushed from the bridge as Ilara and Kira fought to keep the ship's defenses operational. Strange. Entities began boarding the Nemesis biomechanical creatures that moved with terrifying speed. "They're heading for engineering," Kira warned, checking security feeds. "They know what we're trying to do." "Protect that engine room at all costs," Reyes ordered. Kira led a security team to intercept the boarders, fighting a desperate battle through the corridors of the Nemesis. Ilara stayed on the bridge, using what weapons still functioned to target critical systems inside the Harbinger. Then disaster struck. A massive energy surge hit the bridge, destroying most of the control systems. Captain Reyes was thrown across the room, landing hard against a bulkhead. Ilara rushed to his side, but it was too late. The captain was dead, his neck broken by the impact. With the bridge in ruins and the captain gone, Ilara made a quick decision. "This is Commander Voss," she announced over the shipwide. "Come, I'm taking command." "Status report. All stations." "Engineering here," Marcus replied, his voice strained. "The quantum cascade is ready, but there's a problem. The trigger mechanism was damaged in the attack. It has to be activated manually from inside the engine core." Lara understood what that meant. Someone would have to stay behind with no chance of escape? "I'm on my way," she said, fighting her way through corridors filled with boarding entities. Ilara reached engineering just as Kira fell, defending the entrance. The security chief was still alive, but badly wounded. "Get to an escape pod," Ilara told her, pressing a medical kit into her hands. "There are no escape pods," Kira reminded her with a weak smile. "Not from this." "Then find Marcus. Help him hold this position as long as you can." Inside the engine room, Marcus was working frantically at the quantum drive controls. The core glowed with unnatural light, energy building to levels that made the air itself seem to vibrate. "It's ready," he said when he saw Ilara. "But someone has to enter the core chamber to manually align the final sequence. The radiation will be ... fatal." "How long after alignment until detonation?" Ilara asked. 30 seconds? Maybe less." Lara nodded, her decision already made. "Get everyone you can to the forward section. The hull is strongest there. You might survive the initial blast," Marcus began. "That's an order, Lieutenant," she said firmly. "Someone has to tell Earth what happened here," as Marcus reluctantly. Left to gather the survivors, Ilara entered the core chamber. The quantum drive pulsed with energy, reality itself seeming to bend around it. Following Marcus's instructions, she began the final alignment sequence. As she worked, a strange calm came over her. Through the viewport, she could see the Harbinger's internal systems reacting to their presence. Perhaps finally understanding the threat. It was too late. "Alignment complete," she reported over the comm. "Cascade in 20 seconds. Lara." Marcus's voice came back, breaking slightly. "It's been an honor. The honor was mine," she replied. "I'll get as far from the core as you can." As the countdown reached its final seconds, Ilara thought about Earth. About all the people she had never met who might now have a chance to live. It was enough. The quantum cascade triggered, creating a tear in space-time that expanded outward from the Nemesis. The ship began to break apart as reality itself warped around it. The tear reached the Harbinger's systems, disrupting them at the most fundamental level. From outside, the combined fleet watched in awe as the massive entity seemed to fold in on itself, caught in the quantum distortion. A blinding flash lit up space as the cascade reached critical mass, creating a temporary rift that consumed both the Harbinger and the Nemesis. When it was over, nothing remained. No debris, no radiation. Just empty space where the threat had been. Months later, as humanity and former hegemony worlds began to rebuild, a memorial service was held for the crew of the Nemesis. Admiral Zhao spoke of their sacrifice and the alliance that had been forged in the face of extinction. As the ceremony concluded, Junior Communications Officer approached the Admiral with an urgent message. Sir, Deep Space Monitoring Station. 7 has detected a signal. It matches the Nemesis's unique quantum signature. From where? The Admiral asked, hardly daring to hope. An unexplored region beyond the Oort cloud. There's no star system there. Nothing that should exist in that space. The signal was faint but unmistakable, repeating 3 words over and over. We are waiting. Admiral Zhao looked up at the stars, a small smile forming on his lips. Prepare a ship, he ordered. It seems our journey isn't over yet.